I lead a Bible study every Tuesday, and I've been doing it actually for a couple of years. Obviously, the day changes and time changes and all that stuff, but I've been doing a women's Bible study for a long time. And one thing I like to do at the very beginning of Bible study is I like to ask everyone their name, obviously, so everyone in the group can know each other. But I also like to ask them to say one interesting thing about themselves or one fun fact that no one else knows. And originally, when I had first started Bible studies, I kind of started it just as a way to be like, this is awesome for us to get to know each other. But the longer I did it, the more I was realizing a lot of people don't have good things to say about themselves. They either don't think they're interesting, they don't think they have any good qualities, they really think negatively about themselves. So for them, it's like really hard for them to think of something to say. And so I found it interesting as I was doing that over different Bible studies, I decided to start making it a thing that we're not just going to do it at like the first 2 weeks of Bible study, but we're going to do it every week because I think it's really important for us in the way that we view ourselves. And I'm not trying to get into some self-confidence thing or self-focus thing because that's stuff that the world does. I'm doing this because there's an importance to us having the understanding that we were created in the image and likeness of God. There's also an importance for us knowing that God created you exactly who He has called you to be for a reason. He has a plan and a purpose for each and every one of us, and you were created to be able to fill that plan and that purpose. So if you look at your life and think like, well, I don't have any good qualities, or I'm not qualified for service, or I'm not fit for the task that God has called for me, or, I'm emotional, and because of these big emotions, I'm not going to be able to fit into the plan that maybe God has called for my life, or, all these different things, or you think you're not strong enough, or you think you're not good enough, or you question the way that God created you to look, or you question the life that you were born into. And as I was thinking about it, and as I was having some conversations with some of these ladies, I was really thinking, it's really like saying, God, you didn't know what you were doing when you created me. You could have done a better job. And for us human beings, us lowly human beings, to say to the God who created the heaven and the earth, Lord, you didn't know what you were doing when you created me. Lord, you create beautiful things, but this thing right here, not beautiful. This thing right here, no good qualities, or this thing right here, no good gifts, is really questioning the thing that God created you to be, the giftings that He's given you and the call that He has upon your life. And now I'm not saying this in a way that says I am who I am and no one's going to change me. God obviously created us with a need and a desire to become everything that He has called us to be. So of course, there's going to be a process of growth. There's going to be a process of maturity that we have to go through. There's going to be the process of allowing the fruit of the Spirit to develop inside of us. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control. All of these things need to be developed inside of us. So I'm not saying you were born perfect in the sense of everything that God has called you to be, but He's the one who decided the giftings that you were going to have. But only you can decide what you're going to do with those giftings, because if you have these giftings and you go dig them in a hole, well, we all know what the parable of the minas talks about. So we have a decision in our life to do with what God has placed in our hands, and that means our gifting, and that means our call, and that means our plans and our purposes. But I want to remind you of a scripture in Isaiah 45. And I love this scripture. It says, woe to him who strives with his maker. Let the potsherd strive with the potsherds of the earth. Shall the clay say to him who forms it, what are you making? Or shall your handiwork say he has no hands? Woe to him who says to his father, what are you begetting? Or to the woman, what have you brought forth? This scripture shows here that there is an importance of us not questioning what God has created. This scripture shows here that we're the clay within His hands. He has created something beautiful, and He has created something wonderful. And it's not for us to question the thing that He has created, but if He has taken clay and created a pot, only you can fulfill that call of being the pot. Or if He has created you with giftings and talents, only you can be the one willing to use those giftings and those talents. And again, one of my favorite scriptures in the Bible is when God calls Moses Moses, and Moses is like, I think you called the wrong person. He says, I'm not even eloquent of speech. How is it that I'm going to talk to the children of Israel? And God basically is like, Moses, it's not anything that you have to worry about. Don't you know that I'm going to supply every need that you have? So of course you can look inside and say, well, I didn't have this, or I didn't have this, or I was made like this, and woe me, and kind of get all in your feelings. Or you can say, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I am exactly who God has created me to be. He has a call for my life that only I can fulfill. So Lord, what are the things that you need to do in my life that I need to allow you to do so I can grow and mature into everything that you've called me to be, and really walk that you have for my life? One scripture that I've always liked and allowed to work in my life is, it's been probably my favorite scripture for my whole life, but it has a new revelation revealed to me, is it says, delight yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. And as a child, I just felt like, wow, if I delight myself in the Lord, if I follow the rules that he has for my life, he's going to give me everything that I want. And that is a great idea and a very immature concept of this scripture. The older I became and the growth that I had in my life and the maturity I started to walk in, I started to realize I delight myself in the Lord and he will give me my heart's desires. Not he will give me everything that I want. He's not going to give me what I desire, but he's going to give me desires for things in life that I never even thought possible. So if you can just allow yourself to have the confidence in who God has created you to be, your looks, your emotions, your qualities, your giftings, your talents, all of these things, if you can have that confidence to say, well, God created me to be like this. There's no way that I can say to the potter, what is it that you've made? But have a confidence in who he's created you to be. And then say, Lord, I know that you're going to fill in the rest. Lord, when I am weak, you make me strong. Lord, give me everything that I have need of to fulfill this call that you have on my life, not lacking confidence in that call, but really walking in a confidence and authority that he has for your life that says, Lord, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Lord, I love you and I want to be everything that you have called me to be. Lord, thank you for making me exactly who I am.